You're watching FNN, the FUKK News Network.
This program contains subject matter and language that may be disturbing to some viewers.
And these other musicians today who don't do drugs and in fact speak out against them, boy do they suck. Ballless, soulless, spiritless, corporate little bitches, suckers of Satan's cock, each and every one of them.
Viewer discretion is advised. SHMACKEMAGOB.
SHMACKEMAGOB, it's time for the only news that matters, and I want to give a very special thank you to Rick Roth, who checks out my channel. He digs it, man. Great SHMACKEMAGOB intro. He played on my favorite death album, Leprosy, and he was also part of Massacre. He's legendary, man, and I'm honored. I'm honored that he took the time to do a SHMACKEMAGOB intro. And if you want to send a SHMACKEMAGOB intro, send it to this email right here, and I will put it up in order it was received. Alright, now let's get into the only news that matters. And I'm going to start it again with some horrible news. I hate when people die, especially people I love. And I loved Eric Wagner, the original singer for the doom metal legend band Trouble, has died after a battle of COVID pneumonia. And he was 62 years old. Man, the first time I even heard of Trouble was when I saw King Diamond on the Abigail tour, and they opened the show, and it blew my mind how doomy and heavy they were. I became an instant fan, and I bought everything they ever released. Huge fan of Trouble, huge fan of Eric Wagner's voice, and it's a sad, sad loss. So rest in peace, Eric Wagner. Also, Everly's brothers, Don Everly, died at 84. Yeah, he was half of the duo that influenced the Beatles and the Byrds and Simon and Garfunkel. So rest in peace, Don, as well. All right, next story. Nikki Sixx is so happy Motley Crue decided against touring during the pandemic. Did he have a choice? The whole touring industry was shut down because of the pandemic. I mean, seriously, man. This guy is so full of shit that him and Paul Stanley of Kev should get a room. Sure, he was so happy Motley Crue decided against touring during the pandemic. That's as honest as that contract they did 6 years ago, saying that that was their farewell tour. Are you happy that all these fans traveled thinking that they were never going to see Motley Crue again? You happy about that too, you twat? I mean, you know, when they announced that stadium tour, until they shut down the touring industry, they didn't cancel that thing. I remember Tommy Lee was bitching saying, everybody better wear your mask, I got a tour to do this summer. And I'm sure Nikki Sixx was doing that too. And when he found out that the tour was canceled, I bet he punched the wall like Tommy punched Pamela. Alright, next story. Controversial Scorpions album cover Virgin Killer was removed from Swedish online marketplace. Now, I'm not one for censorship, but just about everything has an exception. And I can't stand that album cover. I own the one with the band on the cover. I mean, there's nothing to talk about, but it's way better. Shit, any cover is better than that Virgin Killer's album cover. Well, Blind Faith, that Blind Faith album too, I have to put there. It's disgusting, you know, so I'm glad. It's a great album, by the way. It's an awesome album. But that album cover is disgusting. And those of you that haven't seen that album cover, oh, what's the album cover look like? Well, Google Images is your friend. I remember years ago, more than one person would like say, oh, I got the original Virgin Killer's album cover. Like if that's something proud to talk about. Why don't you just say, I'm proud to be a pedo? Alright, next story. Second season of Ozzy, Sharon, and Jack Osbourne's Paranormal series to premiere tonight. I didn't even know there was a season 1. I could care less. What the hell? Now they're doing Paranormal series? If you want to do a really interesting episode, why don't you conjure up the spirit of Ozzy's career that's been dead a while now? Alright, next story. Iron Maiden's producer Kevin Shirley got death threats when he took over for Martin Birch. You know, Kiss tards are the worst, but Maiden tards ain't that far behind them. You're going to kill a guy because he produces Iron Maiden album. Oh, but don't blame Iron Maiden for hiring the guy. And Iron Maiden did release the second single for the new album, Stratego. And, it's another galloping song, but most people love it. They love it more than that first one, Writing on the Wall, where I actually liked the first one because it was different. It was like, I mean, I didn't love it. It didn't blow my mind, but I was kind of happy going, man, at least this sounds different. Because Iron Maiden is like in this box. And this new single is back in the box with the dun 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 dun. More power to you if you like it, but oof, not a fan. Also, Iron Maiden partners with ASDA supermarkets for Senjutsu, beer, and t-shirt. I'm telling you, Kiss and Iron Maiden are the biggest merch whores in the music industry, in my opinion. And I know I'm getting some hate from you Maiden tards. But hey, man, I'm more of a Diano guy, but I love the first 3 albums with Bruce Dickinson, and I'm not an Iron Maiden hater. But, you know, I know you Maiden tards are like Kiss tards that you're going to think I'm a hater because I don't fall in line and just like everything they do and never say anything negative about a band. I'm sorry, I'm not built that way. My favorite band of all time is Black Sabbath. But what they did to Bill Ward, I call them backstabbeth for that shit. I'm a fan, I'm a nerd, but I ain't no sheep. Next story. Gene Simmons says we are the 4 most recognized faces on Earth. Yeah, right. Last week I talked about Gene Simmons' little backhanded compliment at Daily Roth saying he was the best frontman ever, which I agree with. And then later he says how he don't know what happened to later Dave, today's Dave, modern Dave. You know, pretty much giving him a little dig where, you know, this guy shares a stage with a guy that uses tapes and his voice is shot, and who really doesn't like Gene. Remember when Gene came out when Prince died talking about get over it if you're depressed? Well, he did it again now with the Daily Roth thing. Paul Stanley of Kiss said, speaking of David Lee Roth, I remember seeing him in the 70s with Van Halen at MSG and thinking to myself, there's a new sheriff in town. Just amazing what he has evolved into in a few short years. On stage, he's still Diamond Dave. When has he ever praised Diamond Dave? Oh, sure, he tried to imitate Diamond Dave back in the 80s with his 501 Jeans rap. There's 2 reasons Paul here is praising Dave. 1, to take a jab at Gene that he loves to do. And 2, when Gene said this, there's a bunch of people online bashing Paul because of that remark from Gene saying, well, what about Paul? He uses tapes and his voice is shot.
Hey Dave, you gotta call off your fans. Ever since Gene's comments, they've been saying I lip sync and use backing tracks.
Thank you for that clip, Tim Bream, aka Thinkin' Stanley. Well, David Lee Roth fired back at Gene Simmons by posting this picture online 18 times. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm a huge David Lee Roth fan, but Gene is correct. Modern day Dave is a far cry than what he used to be, the greatest frontman ever. But come on, modern day Kiss, give me a break. And I saw this one tard the other day say, if it wasn't for Gene Simmons, nobody would know who Roth is. I find that hysterical because people eat up everything Gene says. Because Gene loves to say, I discovered Van Halen. You didn't do shit with Van Halen. You flew him to New York, You did a demo with them. You tried to sell it a bill of coin. He refused. And you pretty much told Van Halen, look, you're on your own. Rip the contract. I tried. It wasn't until Ted Templeman discovered Van Halen in a club shortly after. So that's a newsflash for you tards. It wasn't Gene Simmons. It was Ted Templeman that discovered David Lee Roth. The more you know, bitches. And also, it's his excuse of saying, well, you know, Dave ain't that good anymore, so we kicked him off the tour. So what do they replace him with? That same painter they had open the End of the Road tour back when it first started. And they always claim how they care about the fans. You care about the fans so much, you get a guy on stage to paint, not no band. And I don't know how true this is. If this is true, this is like a new level of shittiness by Kiss. This was reported to be a meet and greet where they're behind a plexiglass with their fans. I mean, is this actually true? Because I couldn't find anything else about this, but somebody posted it on my page saying, look at this. And I'm like, no way. Really? They're doing meet and greets behind a plexiglass? Is this actually true? Give me a link in the comments below of they are actually charging people $1,000 to take a picture with them behind a plexiglass. I want some confirmation on it. Even though it wouldn't surprise me coming from modern day Kiss. And speaking of modern day Kiss, they just went back on their never-ending road tour. And here's Gene almost losing his wig because of the fan on stage. Yep, that's modern day Gene. He looks like a meatball wrapped in aluminum foil, patting his schmeckle. Modern day Gene.
Durr, I got your money. Durr, hi, fake Freely. Be my bitch or you'll be back out there. Your costume looks like a coffee pot. Hey you, I discovered Van Halen.
Well, that's it for the news, my friends. Thank you all for watching. If you'd like to donate, I got a PayPal in the description below. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. So stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath. Gene Simmons can go suck it. SHMACKEMAGOB.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain.